Hello, Tuesdays with Tally. The mission and the goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Tuesdays with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. And now your host, Brian Tally.
Welcome back to Tuesdays with Tally podcast, where we add real-life value to the lives of everyday people. Be sure to follow us on social media and on Spotify. The online information and handles are all located on the scrolling ticker at the bottom portion of your screen. And folks, look, I want to give a shout out to this program. Look, we are 111 days old. 111 days old, folks. That is it. When I was out on that mindfulness walk on that Monday afternoon, who knew that I would have 78 episodes to date and, interview and have the pleasure of interviewing some of America's finest men and women. And again, to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Guys, I want to tell you something here about a book that I recently came across that is authored by Marine veteran Chris Whittemore, who is a U.S. Marine combat veteran and a scout sniper. He wrote the book Terror to Triumph. Terror to Triumph. Go get it today. It's available everywhere books are sold online. Now, this book is based on a true story about the Battle of Ramadi as seen through the lenses of Chris himself, a Marine scout sniper. Buy Terror to Triumph today. Again, everywhere books are sold online. This awesome book will make for a great Christmas gift, a birthday gift, whatever it may be. You will be supporting a great American and a U.S. Marine veteran. Folks, and also the shirt I have on right now, these new Tally Bill shirts, a lot of people are saying, hey, where can I get some gear? Where can I get some merchandise? Boom, right here. You can send payment to Venmo, to PayPal. Shirts are $35 with shipping. Again, great Christmas present, great for any veteran out there or any veteran supporter. And then also, I want to welcome a tremendous special guest that we have on today's program. Now, Reshard Hicks Sr. is a U.S. Army combat veteran who served honorably for 7 years and is a championship boxer with a record of 13 wins, 1 loss, and 7 knockouts. Reshard is a graduate of Concordia University-St. Paul and has a master's in exercise science and is the general manager of Title Boxing Club. With that, we are honored to be joined by U.S. Army combat veteran and championship boxer Reshard Hicks Sr. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine. We have a mutual friend in Brenda Ray, and, she reached out to me. She goes, I've got the perfect guy for your podcast. She connected us a couple months ago, I believe, and, man, here we are today. Looking eye to eye, and we're going to sit down and have a great conversation, and again, add some real life value out there to the folks that may need it the most.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Reshard, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from all over. I'm a military brat. I was born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida. Moved around my whole life. Moved from, my dad was in the Navy, so I've been to Georgia, been to South Carolina. Brief stint in Virginia, and then back to Florida. But if I say my home, would be Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. And now you're in Texas by way of Tampa and by way of, the military brat life. Now, what brought you to Texas?
Being in the Army. That was my first Fort Hood, was my first duty station, and got out and stayed here. Mm-hmm.
And Fort Hood, what city is that in? Is that in Waco?
Killeen, Texas. Killeen.
Oh, Killeen, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And you got out of the Army and you stayed there in Killeen.
Mm-hmm. Well, nice. Because it's centralized. I mean, we're 2 hours away from anything major. We're 2 hours away from San Antonio, an hour away from Austin, about 2.5 hours of Dallas, and about 3 hours away from Houston. So it's in the middle of everything.
So you're within rocks throwing distance, and you still have that privacy, and you still have that lower, life, the traffic, and you've got your sanity.
Right.
Is what you're trying to tell me.
Absolutely.
But if you ever want to go into the chaos, you're quick to it.
But down the road.
Yeah. But why go into chaos when you're living in Killeen, Texas, and you're away from it all, and you're in your little comfort zone there? And
right.
Outstanding, man. So listen, you go through high school. What inspired you to join the U.S. Army?
Well, real quick, I accomplished a lot of things going through high school, playing college football, doing college track. I accomplished a lot of stuff. And really the accomplishments that I found that I was having wasn't really for me. It was for everyone else who had bigger value or bigger goals for me that I didn't have for myself. So joining the Army was for me. That was something I did for myself, something that I wanted to venture into it. And at the same time, I always had a love for the country. So it was, seeing my whole family be in the military, being in all different sorts of the branch of the military, and just felt natural for me to do it.
The love of country. It's a great reason why to sign on that dotted line and raise your right hand and take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love it. And, you said you played some college football. Describe that.
I was, up in New York. I went to Fordham University. Cold. I love playing football. It just, at the end of the day, it was just, again, it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I was a good athlete. I was, of course, playing a lot of it. But again, I said the love for the sport kind of went away quick. So again, it was time to do something different.
Would you say that you were a people pleaser? You were playing again because people wanted you on the field and you didn't necessarily want to be out there?
Track was my heart. It was track. I loved doing track. That was everything for me. Football was just another avenue for me to get on the track and field. So,
those sports definitely do coincide very well together. Especially when you're in the off season. They're two different, times of the year and two different seasons, if you will. So you're always staying in that top-notch shape. And, again, one sport feeds into another. We were just talking about that yesterday with wrestling and football and baseball and all that other stuff, how they all kind of feed into each other. So you would end up joining the Army, like you said, for love of country. You wanted to serve. Right. When you went into the Army, what did that look like? Did you have an MOS going into the Army, or did you just go into boot camp and whatever they gave you, and you made do with it?
Well, a funny story is I picked the MOS before I actually signed on the dotted line, but I actually made a good enough grade to be a pilot, but my depth perception was bad, so that was down the window. But I'm scared of heights, so that wasn't going to do anyways. But I chose to be a mechanic because I knew being a mechanic was something that I never knew how to do. So I had the interpretation of going to school to learn it. Plus, it's a skill that will never die. So I was a mechanic while I was serving.
Mm-hmm. What type of mechanic were you, Reshard?
I was an all-wheel mechanic. Yep, or anything that could drive out besides a tank. Anything else I can fix.
Yeah, those M1 Abrams, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna back away from those. Just give me the Humvees, right?
Absolutely.
Now, you would find your way overseas as a U.S. Army combat veteran. Describe that deployment.
That deployment was full of let me just say this. I think being overseas was a little bit less hectic, believe it or not, than being in country. You get a lot of time to camaraderie with your brothers and sisters down range. You do see some things that you can't shake. You do go through some experiences that you never go through. I went through one of the worst experiences ever by getting really sick downrange, having to be hospitalized and having to have tests done on me, whatnot. Different story, different time, but that was an experience for me coming back from being there and having to go through all of that. So, but I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed every moment of being deployed. So,
would you say that camaraderie was something that was probably what made this deployment all worth it?
Yes, it absolutely was. I went through almost two ranks by being deployed. I got my promotable status being downrange. Again, doing a lot of, and then of course I guess you get to actually be a soldier being downrange. You get to see everything that you train and things you hear about, especially when you're in the time of the combat. So you get to witness there are times where it's scary, but again, you got your brothers and sisters there that are going through it with you. It makes it a lot easier for you to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I was a Marine, I wasn't in combat or anything like that, but we did, deploy to, a lot of different parts of the world. And when you're in, all you want is that call, and you're not afraid, you're not scared, because you got your boys, right to your left and to your right, and you're ready to fight. You're ready to engage. And yeah, that's how, a lot of us, that's why we join. We want to get in there. We want to fight. We want to defend freedom. We want to defend our country. We want to defend our brothers and sisters who are fighting alongside of us. And, again, hey, make our country proud, right? Keep that Liberty Bell here at home ringing. And, like I said, it takes folks like Reshard Hicks Sr., to take that oath and to get over there and do the work that 99.9% of our country won't do. You're looking at a very, very small population of people who serve our country. We got 1% of our nation is serving in the military right now.
I said if it was that easy, everybody would do it.
The service and the sacrifice is real. Describe the sacrifice.
So I was a father by the time I deployed. I think it was the biggest sacrifice was not being able to be around my kid and watch her grow. At the time, my daughter, who's now 16, who was also a phenomenal athlete herself, and just not being able to be around her and my wife at the time. That was the biggest sacrifice I had to give up. Other than that, it was, just another day at work for me.
Now, you would experience some combat overseas, and you're also a boxer, and the Army was good to you. You even boxed in the Army. How did this happen, and how did you have that opportunity arise?
So, like I said, once I got sick, I had actual doctors who cared about me, who knew that I was an athlete, because even downrange in Iraq, I played, the intramurals, and everyone I would play intramurals, and people would be like, "Man, why are you here? Man, why are you in the Army? Why aren't you playing football somewhere?" Because I played flag and I played basketball, and everybody, "Man, why are you here?" And that's the question I get all the time. And people would see that I was a good athlete, and once I got sick, I had my doctor say, "Hey, man, you're withering away, you're getting small, you're losing all this weight. You need to go find something to do to get yourself back up to where you was at." So we came back from deployment. Fort Hood had a boxing smoker that was going against all the different installations. I said, I never done it before. Let me jump onto it. Jumped in it, won it, and here I am now.
So, I've seen all your pictures of you holding all these belts, and you're in the ring. You're looking like the second coming of Sugar Ray Leonard, and you didn't even try it before. Come on, bro.
I was 25 when I first put on a pair of gloves. Now, I used to box here and there, being younger, because of course I was bullied. I would believe it or not, I was bullied growing up. So box here and there and whatnot, but nothing competitively. But once I got out, you're getting 25, trying to start boxing. It's kind of unheard of, and a lot of people don't make it that far. But with anything I do in my life, I said I'm either going to go all or go none, and I went all in. devoted myself to the craft and learned everything I was doing consisted of learning the craft of boxing.
That's how I am too with anything I take on.
Mm-hmm.
It's an obsession.
Yes.
I don't half-ass nothing. If I'm in, I'm all in. If I'm out, I'm out.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no gray area.
Mm-hmm.
It's black or it's white. Period.
Life is short to waste time doing something you don't like doing.
Yeah. And again, we're cut from the same mold. If we're going to do something, we want to do it right, and we want to be successful at it.
Yes.
We don't want to do something and waste our time for it to not work out. Now, we all know that there's risk in life. And like, for example, being an entrepreneur, sure, you could start something and be all in and still fail at it. And that's fine. That's called learning and evolving and growing.
Yeah.
But to be somebody like us, we're going to want to give everything we got until we can't give any more. We want to leave it all on the field.
Yes, sir.
Like they say,
yes, sir.
In the football world. And
I know they say in the ring, leave it all in the ring.
Yeah, leave it in the ring. Oh yeah. That's how you're doing it. So now, would you say that boxing is a good coping strategy for somebody like you that was in combat? Like you said, I can't unsee some of the things I've seen and some of the memories that I may have from from experiencing things that were downrange that were thrown at me. Would you look at boxing as a escape from reality?
I view boxing as a muse. Boxing is definitely a muse. It's escape from anything that you have troubles in your life, because you get to get inside your box. You get to get inside your, no pun intended, get inside your box. You get to get inside your own zone, get outside your comfort zone, and just let all the anger and stress out on the bag.
Talk about the importance of getting out of your comfort zone.
Well, then I think that's a lot of people's blockers. People are uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable with things, and I swear that's my mantra. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's my mantra. I live by that. Because again, a lot of people get held back because of fear of failing to do something. But again, you'll always fail if you never try. You always fail if you never try. So again, you have to be uncomfortable, because anything you try for the first time is going to be uncomfortable. And I think with boxing, it's even more so because you're learning how to do something different that your body's been doing for years. For example, I got members who come in, let's say, in early 40s, late 40s, mid 40s, and now you got to teach somebody how to not lead with their dominant hand. You know what I mean? Now you got to have your non-dominant side take the lead, and your dominant side got to wait. It's not used. And now, people are used to walking left foot, right hand. Boxing, you got to walk left foot, left hand. You know what I mean? So it's uncomfortable. So that's literally the most uncomfortable thing is boxing. So you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
It's just like in business. You have to set it up right. Mm-hmm. You have to strategize. And in boxing, you're setting up here for the knockout. Yeah. It's no different. Boxing is life, really.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. It's hard work. It's determination. It's dedication. It's discipline. It's all hallmarks of being a successful person, really, in life. You can go back and look at what boxing, very similar to wrestling. I mean, some of the most disciplined people in the world are boxers and wrestlers.
Yep.
So, you are an amazing father.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You have some athletes, and hey, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, kids.
Tell me about your young super athletes.
Well, my daughter right now, she's a junior now, and she's in Beverly, Florida. We are now on the recruiting trail now. Again, she's eligible now to receive visits, letters from colleges, and we've already getting visitation invites from other colleges right now. So that's an experience. And she's only been playing softball for, I want to say, 3 years now, but she is like natural with it. Like, she is blazing fast. My daughter is one of the fastest kids in Florida. So That's that. My son, he's just, he's getting into his mode as a quarterback. Took some time, took some work. My son isn't the natural athlete my daughter is, but he had to work at it. But thing is, I see my son growing in front of my eyes. He's only 12, but he's almost my height already. Kid wears my shoes, so he's growing up big.
What type of guidance and life advice do you give your kids on a daily basis, Reshard?
So my biggest thing is I don't worry about the ability. I know my kids got the ability. It's the mental part that I focus on them with. One thing about my son, and anybody who knows me, I'll speak on this. My son used to be the biggest crybaby. He's a pleaser like me. He does something wrong and he gets into his feelings. He starts to cry about it. I'm like, hey, son, listen. That right there isn't a mark of a good person. Like, I mean, it's okay to cry, but at the same time, you got to hide your feelings sometimes because you don't want the people to find you as not being able to accomplish the things you want. It's not that you're weak for crying. It's that in this sport, you have to be mentally strong. You have to be mentally strong as a quarterback, as a leader of the team. You got to take the team on your back, and they looking up to you. When they look to you and you're crying about a mistake that you made, now the whole team is down. So it's okay to make a mistake. What I want to see is how you respond to it. That's what I want to see. I want to see what you say. All right, cool. I got it. I messed up. I get it next time. And this year was the year where he actually showed me where he can respond well to adversity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's very important. Like you said, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to have your moment of silence and to beat yourself up, but sometimes not sometimes, all the time, you cannot do that on the field. You can't show any emotion because as soon as you show your emotion, they've got you. They've got you beat mentally. They've got you beat physically, and it doesn't matter how great you are physically. If they got you mentally, you're shut down.
And my son, he's watched me boxing because I've had my son, as a single father for so long. I had him, and he would watch me boxing. He'd go to my fights. He'd go to my training. And my son to see it, he sees me in the ring, and he'll hear some of the people who say certain things about me. Like, I hear it all the time too. You never like your face in the ring. You never like you're hurt. You never like you're uncomfortable. And I tell people all the time, I am. Most of the time I step in the ring, I'm uncomfortable, but I would never show you that.
Mm-hmm.
You can hit me with a good punch. I'll never show you I'm hurt. You know what I mean? It's mental warfare. Is what I tell them.
Mm-hmm.
It's mental warfare. All right. It's okay to make these mistakes. It's just about how you respond to them, and that's what I want. And then the biggest thing I get on my son about, or any athlete, my son, my daughter, anybody else, is manning up to your mistakes. Right, manning up to your mistakes. All right. If you throw a bad pass, don't say, well, so and so ran the wrong route. No, hey, well, he might have ran the wrong route, but you threw the ball. All right. Like if you was paying attention when you were throwing the ball, then you wouldn't have thrown the ball to where he wasn't. Right. So they man up to your mistakes. Say, hey, coach, next time I got it. And then show the coach respect by looking him in the face when he's talking to you. Regardless of how you may feel, a mark of a man is looking someone in their face when they're talking to you. And I stay on him about that. Again, I'm part of my son's biggest critic, but I'm also his biggest fan. I would never tear him down. I would always lift him up. So that's my coaching style because I'm also a coach too as well. So,
what's it like coaching your son out there?
Well, so a lot of people use the term daddy ball. I don't play daddy ball. I made coach his team. I don't coach my son. Right. So I was a cornerback, DB in college. I was a athlete in high school. So I coach defense, but I won't coach my son. Right? I get on him about, like I said, the attitude and stuff like that. But as far as performance-wise, I let his quarterback coach and his offensive coordinator deal with that part.
I like how you concentrate on mental health on that aspect of the game, because let's face it, so many kids out there these days, especially on the teams that you're coaching, the physical ability is there, but we are living in some crazy times now where there's so much mental health disorders, and it's affecting kids, it's affecting civilians, it's affecting veterans. I mean, it's affecting everybody. And like you said, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And sometimes you got to get out of that comfort zone and you got to do things that scare you a little bit. What type of advice can you give to other coaches out there when you're actually coaching that mental health piece, that mental focus, that mental clarity, and that mental toughness? What can Reshard Hicks Sr. offer to those other coaches or perhaps parents out there today?
Just understand that the kids are not living in the same time that we did, right? They're not living in the same era we did. Like I say, a lot of times, a lot of kids are a lot more privileged or have a lot more accessibility than we had, right? So we went out and we practiced hard and we played hard because that was literally our sanctuary. You know what I mean? That was our muse. That was our way to escape. A lot of kids are doing it now because their parents are forcing them to do it, not because they want to do it. Right. Back then, we wanted to do it because that was the way we would get out and about. But what I would tell these coaches now is just remember, you can't coach every kid the same way. Because not every kid comes from the same background as you came from. Not every kid comes from the same background as the other kid comes from. Right. You have to know the kids that you're coaching. They all respond to different stimuli. So you have to be very cognizant of the way you talk to them, because you may lose a kid by just simply saying the wrong thing to them. And last, I would tell the coaches, yelling does not mean they're listening. Yelling at them does not mean they're listening to you. Again, you have to pull yourself back and understand that these are kids you're coaching, and they're not going to be perfect. And not every player you're going to play is going to be perfect. Allow them room to make mistakes, but also give them the opportunity to make up for the mistakes. A lot of times I see coaches, a kid on the field make a mistake, the coach will pull him off the field, and the kid won't see the field again. Now that kid feels dejected and feel like he's less of an athlete or less of a contributing factor to the team as he should be.
My sons were extremely blessed to play for some great coaches throughout their, Pop Warner, careers, and very, very similar coaching style, and you. And what I don't like are the coaches that will absolutely berate in front of everybody a 12-year-old kid who gave up a long pass because he bit on, as a corner or safety or whatever, he bit and got burned or he didn't, stay high or whatever. And they're pulling him off the field and they're putting his replacement in there and they're grabbing him by the face mask. It's like there's a time and a place to do that. You can pull him out and put him on the bench, but don't call his name Johnny across the field and make him look like like he's less of a player than everybody else out there. Because the reason why you don't do that is because now that whole entire team is going to be like, yeah, Johnny screwed us up and we lost that game because of Johnny. And now Johnny's like, well, shit, man, I was doing my best. Sorry, I screwed up. I'm not perfect. In another example, and I see this all the time because my son plays highly competitive baseball here in Houston. And we'll be out there playing. Again, sports are different now than from when I was a kid. From when I was a kid, we played Little League and pony ball. Now it's like, shit, it's big business. I'm not talking big business. I mean, these guys are getting paid $1,000 a month, and then you've got fees. And this is an empire. So when the kids are out there dropping routine fly balls, I've seen coaches throw their hats on the ground. I mean, this is lately. Pull that player, sit him on the bench, and put another player out there in that position in front of all the parents and during the game. Like there might be one out, and he drops the ball, and they're pulling him. And again, that coaching style needs to change because it's disgusting in my eyes. And further, all it does is it drives parents in the stands to go crazy and lose their shit, and then before you know it, you've got chaos in your hands at a freaking kids event.
Absolutely.
You are the general manager at Title Boxing Club in Killeen, Texas. What led you to that job? I mean, obviously you're a championship boxer, but what exactly do you do there? Explain your day-to-day routine.
My day-to-day routine is pretty much making sure the gym runs efficiently. Everywhere between dealing with incoming prospects, people who want to come try classes out, making sure the trainers are on time, making sure that we are all up to date with the new I guess you want to say boxing Bible of how we're teaching classes and whatnot, and just pretty much making sure the gym is running proficiently and efficiently.
How many rings do you have in there?
We have one ring. I'm actually in here now. We have one ring, 50 bags. I have 7 trainers. I have two saleswomen on my team. So we run like a well-oiled machine.
So again, back when I was a kid, if you went to a boxing club, you were a boxer. You weren't some mom or some dad who's getting off of work and changing over and going in boxing. So we have so many new innovative ways to exercise and all this stuff. Who are your clients? Who describe an average client of your boxing club?
People who are trying to get their life back in order, as far as, I used to be in shape. I want to get back in shape. Also have people dealing with PTSD, mental health issues. I also have people that just looking for something different. So I got all kinds of clientele. Most of my clientele, I'm like 75% women who are looking to learn self-defense. Because at the same time, boxing is not only a fighting sport, it's a good workout. It's a great workout. So I have clientele of all kinds of background and structure looking for different things. So
self-defense, that's been a hot topic lately. I know our country isn't the safest place these days, and I think that's very important, especially for young ladies out there who are at times easy targets, soft targets, as they're sitting out there and being victims of prey. So if you can at least fight back for even 5 or 10 seconds, that sometimes is the difference between life and death. Right. So that's good what you're teaching these young women.
Right.
I want to know who you look to for strength.
My kids. Even everyone gets those days where we don't feel like being part of the routine. We don't feel like adulting. I say that all the time. We get those days we don't feel like being what we normally do. And then I get to see my kids. I'm like, all right, cool. This is my purpose. This is my job. This is my why. Right? This is why I'm doing everything. Because now I have to set a tone for them. Because if they see daddy quit doing something, they're going to think it's okay for them to quit doing things. We don't quit in my house. So.
Mm-hmm. Kids pick up on that.
Yes.
Kids watch. I had some hard times in my life. All of 16, all of 17, all of 18, and all of 19. Their dad quit, and I'm not a quitter. Until one day I realized that my kids are watching me, and I'm setting this bad example, even though I was in horrifying pain in my life as I knew it was over. And one day I said, I can't do this anymore. I need to get up and I need to start getting 1% better.
Yes, sir.
And knowing that my children, again, were my biggest fans, my biggest supporters, and also my biggest motivation,
right.
To live the life that we were intended to live, and be those good role models and be those, folks that people look to for good influence and not this bad influence that people see on social media. And, just because this guy's doing it means that I can do it too. It's like, no. We're the leaders here. We don't follow, we lead. Okay. Because if you know right from wrong, you're going to be a good leader. And the problem is there's so many young kids out there today that are following the wrong leader. And when they're following the wrong leader, they're going to start acting like that leader, which is going to lead them to trouble.
Absolutely. I preach that all the time to my son. Do not be a leader. Do not be a follower. Do not follow because you wanted to be in the in crowd, bro. That's not what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. I say create your own.
Create your own. Yes, sir.
If you're not in the in, okay, well, cool. Create your own. You lead it because you know right from wrong. And again, this is what I've always told my kids, Reshard. You are who you roll with. If you roll with the wrong crowd, you are going to become them. If you roll with men and women of success, you will be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. 1,000% agree. Absolutely.
You know, I mean, if you're training football with the guy who can't catch the football or throw it, you're probably not going to become a very good football player. But if you're out there training every day with guys like Tom Brady, who are running routes, he's going to improve you as a player.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
Who's a really bad quarterback? Let's see, Russell Wilson this year. So that would be like Russell Wilson throwing you passes and saying, man, he's making me a hell of a defensive player because I'm picking him off every play.
Very true.
Oh, man, that's funny. Sorry, I had to poke at my brain.
I get it.
I mean, it's just been a tough year, man. Yeah, it's been a tough
I'm a typical, listen, I'm with you on that. So I'll feel you on that.
Hey, I'm a big Tom Brady fan. You know, I named my son Brady. April 2nd, 2002, he was born, and I named him Brady after Tom Brady because when he came in for Drew Bledsoe and led the Patriots over the Carolina Panthers in that Super Bowl, I said, he's a winner. I'm naming my son after this guy. Just 2 months after he had won that Super Bowl, I had my own Brady. And boy, oh boy, was that a good call.
Yeah, good.
Good man.
Good. That's why I named my son after me.
You are your biggest fan, man. And you know what, dude? Hey, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to freaking love ourselves, right? Because if we can't love ourselves, we can't love anybody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Reshard, you're a light, man. You are definitely a light, and I could see it in your face. You're glowing, and tell you're a very happy man, a very proud man, a proud father, a proud general manager. You're changing lives, and and all the advice you give out there to your people. And again, it's not all about training; it's about counsel. It's good counsel too.
Yes, sir.
I want to know: do you have a proudest moment of your life? And it could be personal, it could be professional, but do you have a proud moment that stands out to you?
I have a nonprofit organization called Let's Move Clean, right? When that whole George Floyd incident happened, a lot of people came to me and turned to me and said they wanted to do some stuff. I felt hopeless. I felt helpless. I felt like my hands are tied. And I saw the destruction that was going on in the world at the time, and I didn't like it. And I called to the city of Killeen, and I said, "Hey, listen, it's what I want to do, but if we're gonna do it. If we're gonna protest. We're gonna, not every cop is a bad cop, so we're not gonna sit here and excuse my language, shit on all the police officers that we call at the same time to protect us. But we will call out the bad ones, and we will protest. But if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it peacefully." Well, I held a peaceful protest here in Killeen. Not one thing was damaged, not one thing was broke, not one person was hurt. And I had over 700, 800 people attend that rally. And they were all turned to us, my whole organization. But it was between me and my co-founder, Jonathan Hilden. We put it together and we made it happen. We had the chief of police there. We had the mayor at the time there. We had a bunch of the candidates who was running for a seat in the local election at the time. They came and they spoke, and it was a great time. And we, and that was my proudest moment because it lets me know that my city's behind me.
And you say something that really resonates with me is you did that. You fought honorably. And that's what so many people in our country aren't doing these days because it's hard to fight honorably. Mm-hmm. It is hard to have your voice heard. And again, I'm an advocate that went all the way to the steps of the Capitol buildings of Washington, D.C., and I had to put in the hard work too. But it's so much easier just to go out there and destroy stuff. especially when you have thousands of others people that are doing it. Again, those are the wrong leaders.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if you're going to walk the walk and talk the talk, there you were out leading a peaceful protest that had 0 incidents because you wanted to have your voice heard. But I think you did it in a way because you are proud of your country and you are proud of first responders, but you just want some change to get rid of maybe the bad ones to replace them with the good people.
Absolutely.
Maybe some more community policing, maybe some policing that they can, start to build relationships in the community rather than tear them down. So again, there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can burn stuff down, or you can go out there like Reshard did and do it peacefully and do it honorably. And I think that's the leader in you, and that's also the soldier in you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, this has been a great interview, and I sincerely appreciate you taking the time, to do all this. But I want to leave on a note. I want to leave on what type of life advice could you give our listeners out there today? And I know we've talked about so much life advice, really, and you may be out of it, but I think that it seems like you're full of it.
Uh-huh.
What type of life advice can you leave with our listeners today, or perhaps maybe some words of wisdom?
Trouble don't last always. Trouble don't last always. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give them. A lot of people go through hard times, and they feel like they're the only ones going through the hard time, but they're not. Trouble does not last always. Bad times don't last always. Like, everything that you're going through is for a reason. You just got to stick it out, and then you will be a better person on the other side of it.
What was the words that you said again?
Trouble don't last always.
Trouble don't last always. Trouble don't, tough times don't last forever, even though storms sometimes last.
Mm-hmm.
They could last days, they could last weeks, they could last months, they could last years. And a lot of the times we don't know why we're going through these trials and these tribulations and these storms. But our stories are written.
Yep.
Let's face it, our stories are written. It's up to us to find who we are and to find what type of walk that we're going to, put forth in this life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you today. You are a good guy. You're a great father. You're doing the right thing up in Killeen, Texas. I've heard lots of great things about you, and I've heard lots of great things about Title Boxing Club. You've got a lot of fans out there, and again, man, keep leading from the front, and just keep doing the right thing. I know your kids are going to be doing some amazing things here. You've already got a ranked athlete in your son. I think he's a 1-star or 2-star already, and he's in 8th grade. I mean, your daughter's in Florida. I mean, you've got some really, really good things headed your way, man. I bet you're just excited. You're proud, and you're probably just a man of gratitude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you for joining us today, Reshard. We sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication is truly admirable.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me again. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Until next time, for Tuesdays with Tally, this is Brian Tally. Good night, Semper Fi, and God bless.